Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with the final release. I believe this is the final release in Bridges' epic, really epic and important George Crumb Complete Edition. This contains, well, a very early work, one of his very last works, and something in the middle in two different performances. First, we get Processional for piano solo. This was written for Gilbert Kalish, and this contains Gilbert Kalish playing it. And it's about a 13-minute long, large single movement. Crumb was originally thinking of doing something reminiscent of Chopin's ballades, or a series of ballades for Gilbert Kalish, but it turned into one big one-movement piece. And Processional is just that. It has a certain stately pace, but it's really a harmonic study, a fascinating harmonic study. It uses all kinds of interesting vertical sonorities. You've got modal harmony, you have diatonic harmony, there's chromatic harmony, there's whole tone harmony. The proximate inspiration, aside from the original ballade-like conception, was Debussy. And Crumb has a very close and happy relationship to Debussy. His handling of harmony and the immediacy of tone as an expressive device. I think this is a beautiful, beautiful work. And of course, Gilbert Kalish was the dedicatee. He's marvelously recorded and plays it very well. But you get two performances of it because Processional is written for completely standard piano. It doesn't use any of Crumb's what you might call advanced piano techniques, like plucking in sides and strumming and thrumming and humming and wumming and schwumming and whatever you do in electronic amplification and whatnot. But there are a few moments where he allows the pianist to, or suggests that the pianist do some other goodies to the piano. And so we get that performance too, performed by Marcantonio Barone as the conclusion of the disc. These two performances frame everything else that's contained here. And that performance not only has the additional techniques, but it's about 2 minutes faster than Gilbert Kalish's performance. So it's very interesting to hear the two interpretations. I mean, those of you who think that contemporary music or avant-garde-ish type music doesn't permit for expressive nuance and variety of interpretive results should hear these two performances, because they're quite different. They're very, very different, and it's marvelous to hear them because they're both quite legitimately lovely and splendid. So that's nifty. Next, we have one of Crumb's last works, Kronos-Cryptos for percussion quintet. And boy, they're playing a crap load of percussion instruments. I mean, Crumb was one of the great masters of writing for that particular much neglected segment of the modern orchestra anyway. I mean, well, modern orchestras have lots of percussion usually, and composers write for it willy-nilly. But Crumb writes for it with intention and with specificity. And the piece is in four movements. First, we have Easter Dawning, which was originally a piece he wrote for carillon, for bells, but when are you going to play that, right? So he expanded it and reworked it as the first movement of this thing. Then a ghostly barcarolle. Oh, this is nifty. It has water effects. You have a water gong. Have you ever seen a water gong? It's a giant tub of water, and you put a little gong in it, and you play it, and you dip it into the tub and pull it up, and it goes, you make sort of a glissando sound. It's really a rather cool effect when it's done correctly. But he uses that, and he also uses a pitcher of water that you pour into the bucket here, and you make water sounds, because it's a barcarolle, right? Which is, a boat thing. The old barcarolle from, the Venetian gondola songs and things like that. So it's a water piece, and it's hauntingly beautiful. It's very, very beautiful. Then there is, to wake us all up afterwards, Drummers of the Apocalypse. 2 minutes and 37 seconds of controlled mayhem. Oh, God, it's fun. It's just incredible fun. And finally, last but not least, and very, very touchingly, the Appalachian Echoes, based on the tune Look Homeward, Angel, which is for his daughter Anne in memoriam. Anne, who was a splendid singer and who inspired his American Songbook series, which she performed quite beautifully, and who very, very sadly predeceased him, which is, one of the most terrible things that can happen to a parent. And he wrote this last movement as a memorial to her, and it's very, very touching and extremely beautiful, as bits of Memo's time secret, Kronos-Cryptos, right? It's bits and memories and things sort of flit in and out, and it's really very, very beautiful. Last but not least, we have, let's see, who's doing this one? We have the Sonata for Solo Cello with Timothy Eddy playing the cello. Believe it or not, this is an early piece, pre-1962, works that Crumb wrote but largely disowned. He studied with Boris Blacher. I didn't know that. It was in the notes here. But anyway, this is a 3-movement piece, a fantasia, and then a pastoral theme with variations, and a toccata. It's not like atonal particularly. It's obviously modernist, but it's really well written for the instrument. And like everything Crumb wrote, it's extremely timbrally sensitive. He uses the full timbral range of the cello, including pizzicatos and things like that. It's a beautiful work. Apparently Yo-Yo Ma played it, and Crumb heard it and said, well, gee, that's not so bad. And it's not. It's really one of the lovely contemporary works for solo cello. It's well worth hearing. So we have, let's see, the Curtis Institute of Music Ensemble 2021, and Gilbert, Kalish, and Marcantonio, Barone, and Timothy Eddy, all performing this last and wonderful series. It's a really beautiful summation, I think, of everything that Crumb stood for. Music that has immediacy of expression, a genuine spiritual element, an amazing attitude towards timbre and harmony, and an eclectic range of expression. It really is a beautiful, complete little portrait in miniature of one of the great 20th century composers, and one whose works I pray and hope will survive him for all of the years to come. So good for you, Bridge, and a touching and sad sort of farewell to a great composer. So keep on listening, friends. Thanks so much for joining me. Take care.